Down here at SCAD for a 3-day ATV Fest, and it's been phenomenal. And so today we're sitting with Mark Levin of Class Divide. We just screened the movie, film. Amazing, amazing documentary. I want to ask you, how long of a process was this first of all?
It's probably about 18 months to 2 years. But I live in the neighborhood, and so for I don't even want to admit how many years I walked to work, and literally, especially after 9/11 and kind of the High Line, kind of emerging in the Chelsea neighborhood, I've just been amazed by the transformation that I've seen in front of my eyes, and kind of ruminating about, well, how would I tell this story? How do you tell this story?
So you were living in the area, and then this project came to you. Wow. So you have a...
I mean, look, my kids went to the Hudson Hill, which is the daycare center on the corner that we focus on. My studio is on 26th Street. I live on 26th Street. As we were just discussing, I've kind of gone from being, you mentioned hippies. I've kind of gone from the bohemian, moved in with a bunch of buddies. It was a party loft, an international crash pad. We were in a factory building, no heat on the weekends, but we didn't care. But as my life changed, I got married, started a family. I said when my mother-in-law first visited, she started crying because she couldn't believe. She started weeping because she couldn't believe her daughter would end up, in a factory building. Well, now there's a Hilton Hotel, right next to us, and that walk to work, the landscape has changed tremendously. How do you tell a story like that? Luckily, HBO and our relationship that we've done, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 films, over 20 years for HBO. So we have the freedom, to kind of let certain things develop organically instead of just going in with a piece of paper saying, here's the outline, we'll shoot it in 25 days and you'll have a film. This is something that has grown over time, although the production was probably 18 months.
I wanted to say that I lived in New York for a number of years, 15 to 18 years, but I'm from Georgia. So immediately I was in the story because I grew up with a different type of divide. In the South, it is said that the railroad tracks divide. So when I was intrigued by the title, and then that's what I thought of immediately. So I experienced the same thing with different viewpoints.
Well, look, the racial divide, we all know that's like the primal wound in the American story. And you're right here, south of the Mason-Dixon line. And we know we're still living with it. And it's something that in my work has been a constant. But this was a little different in that it was more the class divide.
Yes.
You can't ignore race, we all know that. And I had just come off, in fact, I think I was doing Chicagoland, where we did 8 hours for CNN in Chicago, a good part of it on the South Side, Fenger High, and Englewood, where there's so many of these issues that we're wrestling with now. We're doing a film in Baltimore right now, but post Freddie Gray. So that's very much, we did Brick City and Newark. But yeah, this was a little different in that can't ignore what you're saying, the other side of the tracks. But Chelsea has always been kind of a vanguard community, like a hip community. Certainly sexually, it's where, the Village and then Chelsea, where the gay community really stepped out, the homosexual community.
They were free down there.
They were free, it was legitimate. I think that it is interesting. You hear some of the characters, some of the African American kids in the film talking about, we race obviously, but how they became conscious of class. Like one of the young men says, I could meet a black guy that's gone to an Ivy League school, and is a professional and is doing well. And he's going to look at me, like you're saying, on the other side of the tracks, meaning I'm from the projects. So look, I think ultimately they're both. These are the two key things we're wrestling with, even in this election, as we hear about income inequality. But we know that we aren't in a post-racial world. Look at Ferguson. look in New York, you know. But that's the great challenge, is how do we cross the railroad tracks? How do we bridge these gaps? Not that there's not going to be inequalities, that's human nature. But it doesn't mean that we go to such extremes, which seems to be the direction we're going. And the other thing is that at least most of us have grown up believing, okay, you might be born on the wrong side of the tracks, but that doesn't mean you can cross over. You know, if you're hardworking, responsible, you know, there's a way for you to go forward. But that's becoming harder and harder.
I saw the statistic. I was blown away by that it's harder for a person born in poverty in America to cross that gap than for someone born in another country.
That's right, in Canada.
I found that unbelievable.
I know, and that's the American dream.
But I think it was Rose's brother who said it the best, where it's so much where there's people that are lazy. So if you have the drive and the motivation to want to do something with yourself, you have the ability, because we come from a place that gives you the liberation to do so. But if you don't take advantage of what's out there, then you're going to keep yourself segregated into that one particular section.
Well, look, that conversation is one of the great moments in the film, because you know it's a bunch of guys, and then he goes, "I'm a Republican," and his buddies are looking at him like, "What? We never heard that conversation." But you know, look, I mean, it's all part of the mix, and it's also part of breaking down some of the stereotypes, you know, that we have, and that's what was fun about this film.
I saw a lot of fun. I'm glad that the kids got to use their music. There was a little rapping on both sides.
Yeah.
Really cool. Some words that stuck out to me: class struggle, privilege, activism. I noticed in the literature, hyper gentrification. But I wanted to focus on, from a filmmaking point, I know a lot of windows being opened.
I'm so glad you said that. That's a great observation, especially in this place, you know, this museum about art and design, because Chelsea is now the art capital.
Wow.
Yeah, it's moved from Soho in New York to the Chelsea neighborhood, you know. So, and windows are frames, like the frame that we originally, exactly. So that was a conscious choice, and I really appreciate that.
I noticed
you kind of took note of that.
Especially from the kids inside, from the apartments looking out. There was a lot of looking out, and it gave me the feeling of more of a divide. They're like, I can see this, I can't touch it. It's like, do they ever walk on that side of the street? Because at that point in the movie, they had never spoken to anyone. It was just there. And I'm thinking, how do you live somewhere and never go to that side of the street?
That's, you know, that is the question. And obviously you see two young women here have the, you know, they've got the chutzpah to, you know, kind of cross the street.
I can't wait to ask them that question.
They're fearless. But you're right, looking out the window, you know, and through, everybody's got their own frame. That is certainly one where you see something that's untouchable or in another world, but it's right across from you. But it's also, you know, what you see your own vision of the world.
And that's the significance of that billboard frame. That's what I caught from that. Because, you know, you have this right here, and the big frame, what do you want your life to be? You can frame your life.
And that's how the film ends, with her in a frame, you know, doing her little, you know, her little song, and it was touching that someone in your audience here today said, look, whether you got into avenues or not, that's not going to be what determines. You know, you've got something special, and you know that's what matters. You know, keep that frame, your particular unique talent.
I hope that people who see this, that are out in that school, in that neighborhood, in that city, I hope they get the perspective that buildings don't define people. You show people. These kids are like, look, I didn't choose this. Even the kids in the school, we didn't choose this. They were confused.
They even said that.
Yeah. And then bridging the gap with them finally getting together and seeing that, hey, this is flesh and blood. There are no chocolate fountains, as someone said. They got into the reality and they let them into their reality. And I think I saw like a new beginning.
Well, you know, I think when we talk about these issues, big issues, inequality, racial inequality, it's so easy for it to become abstract, you know, and we lose sight of what you're saying, that it's about real people. So we kind of start this on the opposite side with kids, you know, who haven't been burdened with all the preconceptions that we have, you know, and so there's a freshness to their perspective, but also there's a humanity, you know, like you're saying, and that is what this trilogy of films that we were able to do with HBO was about. We started with people and let them lead us instead of starting with the experts. Nothing wrong with the experts, you know, but that's what you see on CNN and that's what you see on MSNBC and Fox. So we wanted to try something different, and that's kind of what this
You show it from a more humane side.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, this is a hit. I want everybody to see this film. I learned so much, remembered so much, and you're going to feel these kids. You're going to really feel them. And I think that's your showing the children, like you said, the fresh perspective. We're rooting for this.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
taking
it.
time to speak to us.
Positivity is a movement, baby.
Hi, this is MLuv, Marz.
Marz Bishop.
We're back again.
Yes.
We just seen the screening, Class Divide, and we have one of the superstars.
One of the powerhouse.
Excuse me.
Yes, I'm gonna use powerhouse.
Powerhouse
Yes.
is with us. Rosa, how are you, darling?
I am wonderful.
First of all, welcome to Atlanta. Is this your first time traveling to Atlanta?
Yes.
Did you drive or fly?
I fly.
You flew?
I'm fly.
You are fly.
So it makes sense. I fly and I
And you're fly. You gotta brush it, you know. You gotta do that with that. Thank you so much. How did your family feel about being in the film when you first worked with them?
Well, I mean, at first, my mom was like, "Whoa," and then my dad was like, "Oh," but then it was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And so we was like, "Okay," because like at first, we don't know, we didn't really like know anything, but now we're just more like, and this is fun because travel and you get to do all this stuff that
You get to feel like you're a superstar already.
Yeah.
So when your singing career pops off, you can sing and rap. You got so many things going for you.
My name is
Acting.
Boza. It runs a Boza. No.
You actually do that in the film. When you look out of your window, can you see the school from the avenues from Elliott? What did you guys knew it was a school, right? Did you think at first that you were going to be able to go to that school?
At first, I was like, maybe I'll go to school, but then at first I was like, when I because they started building that in 2012, and then so around there, because that was actually an old factory, so it was like a supermarket, something similar to that. And then when I saw it remodeling, it was so it was nice, and then it's a big building. It's huge for school. So then when I started looking into it, I was like, oh my god, this is a wonderful school. And I was like, I wouldn't find a little here. But then I looked into it, and you have to have straight A's. If you're not rich or you have straight A's, you have to have one of those things.
And how did that make you feel?
I mean, it made me feel about the straight A's thing, I was like, I could do it, but I'm not they have perfect in it. And then I was like, why do they look at you, how you dress, or if you have money or not? Why don't they just look at your talent instead? Why do they have to look at that?
So if it was a talent-based school, you think you could get it?
I think I could.
I know you could.
And based on charisma, I know she'd be able to get in there. So it really Class Divide, it kind of shows both sides of it, because even though you have to be in a certain section or have a certain amount of money, it doesn't go as far as your integrity or anything.
The things that make you
exactly
a beautiful person.
Right.
It has
Your
to do with
charisma
money.
makes you a very beautiful individual.
So they're throwing around all these big words, gentrification, talking about class.
Classism.
Yeah, do you understand any of that?
Actually, I do, but let me just answer this. It shouldn't be called Class Divide. It should have been called Money Divide.
Why you say that?
Because it's basically about how so look at all the nice buildings, and then we right here stuck in the middle still the project. I mean, we still have the Fulton ones, but we're talking about Chelsea, and we right in here, and we've been here for more than 20 years, and I've been changing all of this, but then you never been changing us, and I'm like, this is not no fair. And then my mom's been living here for now 25 years, going to 30 years soon.
So do you think by the film and everything that's happening to you, do you think that it'll eventually help you and your family get out of Chelsea?
Honestly, yes, and if it does, it'll be really good, and I'll have to thank Mark and Daphne a million times, because honestly, this is crazy, because how would why do they look at like the money and all that what you wear if you got fancy stuff on? Because this was $30 at Macy's. It was on sale. I got it for sale. Oh no, not Macy's. Wait, what is it? No, it was at TJ Maxx. It was just, you know, it was cheap, okay?
Right, but you look nice.
Right.
It shouldn't matter what you wear.
Exactly, and then I don't get like 50 of these and just be, and that's what my point is. They look at you for what you wear, or like if you got money, or if you don't got money. And if you don't got money, you down here. And if you do have money, you up here. And it's not supposed to be like that.
When you got to go into the school, finally, I was like so happy to see you got that.
real.
And you would ask them out, what about the 5th graders? Can we get the iPads, take them home?
Yeah, I was like so interrupted. I bet that teacher was like, "Can you calm down, Rainbow?" I was like, I bet she, if I was a child, she probably would have said that because like I was so excited to like literally go, like literally see like the school. I couldn't even like.
Question: if you could change, do you want them to change where you live into someplace nice, or do you want to live somewhere else totally? Like, if someone had said, look, I'm a rich person, I can take this whole project and change it into nice condominiums, or you can buy a house in Yonkers somewhere. What would you want? You want to stay where you are, or you want to go somewhere different?
I'll stay where I am. I told him, listen, you could change this. This is my home, you know, like this is where I'm from. I can't just leave it there and leave all my other friends and all my other people here. And because like, there's other people, I'm not even trying to be like me, but there's other people in my country, like in where I'm from, like even more, like really, like more poor than me. Because like, for me, I have stuff that other people don't have. And it's not because my parents has money, it's because, you know, because some people, they'll think, oh, no, listen, I could get you anything you want. But in my house, it goes like this. You got good grades, you could get whatever you want. You have to show me your good grades, and then that's here. Or maybe a birthday, because the reason why I have iPads and Beats and a cheapy phone, but it's still a phone, is because I have my grades and all that. It's not because, you know, my parents got money and they just got from me, because no, it doesn't work like that.
Do you feel bad when you learned how rich these kids were and you looked at where you live, your family? Did you feel bad about your parents? Did you say, man, why can't my dad do that for me? Or were you just thankful for what you had?
I was thankful for what I had, because I'm not trying to be selfish here, and I'm not gonna try to be like, oh yeah, no. I'm like, my point is like, I thank them for what I got, and if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be in the school that I am now, because that's a great school. It's awesome, and if like
and you speak well, so at school you're intelligent already, but so you obviously getting a good education.
Yeah.
And this education is what you make it. You got to get your grades. You got to do it. You got to do it.
And then the bad part is when like I see other people, they be like, oh no, she's from the project, she's really ratchet, she's ghetto. No, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that no one's like that, but like you live in the projects, you nothing. That's it, nothing,
Yeah,
nothing.
that's what people think.
That's what they think. So you don't have a good education, but they don't go and look, because there's so many other people in this world that live in the projects. Not like J-Lo. Where is she from? She's from the Bronx. She was raised up poor, but look where she's at now.
And you know what? That's your story as well. I know that this has helped you, and I'm glad that you were in this movie, because the world now can see you and see that there's little Rosa in Elliott housing. Okay, so the entire world, I think your world is going to change, and so I'm so happy for you. What do you want to say to HBO for bringing this about?
I just want to thank you guys for everything, and like you know, if worst comes, like if nothing happens, well, it don't matter, because one day when I have kids, I'm gonna show my kids to do the same thing. You gonna share. We have a little crumb on the plate, we gonna break it in pieces and we gonna share.
I love it.
And I'm never gonna be like, oh, I know for a fact I'm never gonna be selfish like that, because I have to remember where you came from. You know, you didn't come from so you have to always like. Every time when someone asks you, you always have to like know what you want to say, because you say something wrong, they be like, wait, hold up. Does she know where she came from? No, she probably don't, because you came from the projects, so you shouldn't even be talking. So you know, you have to always know what you're gonna say, because you know, I'm proud to say I am from the projects, and I am just proud to say.
But there's a saying that says that your beginning doesn't determine your end. You understand that? So just because people say you came from Lower, we know that that's not true. But because you live in a certain area, it doesn't determine where you're going to end up. You're going far. Thank you so much for talking with us. We appreciate you. We want to keep in touch with you and know how you're doing, okay? Hey, we are back. We are sitting with Yassi from the film Class Divide. And wow, has your life changed any since this film?
Yeah, you know, it's my family has all seen it now, and the upper school at Avenues have actually we all just watched it, so it's definitely started some conversations.
Really?
Yeah.
So you walk around, you're a celebrity now. People gonna be stopping you on the street.
It's really funny, actually. We watched the film, and then this kid from Avenues, like we all watched it as upper school, and when the kids saw me in the lobby of the school, he goes, "Were you that kid from that film?" I'm like, "The film that we all just watched?" Yeah. That our school? Yeah, I'm that kid.
Cool. Please tell us, what was it like? I saw it a little bit in the film, your first reaction when you knew you were going to go to the Avenues and exactly where it was placed across from. What did you feel?
I felt when I first saw the address for Avenues and I had to go in for my first interview before you go to the school. I've never been to Chelsea before. I actually grew up in Yonkers and I moved to the city when my parents got divorced. But I never went to Chelsea, so I was like, first of all, how do I get here? And then I remember walking there on my first day, going from 26th Street and 7th Avenue to 26th Street and 10th Avenue where the school is. You actually can walk through Chelsea Elliott. Of course, some kids would like to walk through 23rd Street instead. But anyways, seeing that transformation from Chelsea Elliott houses to Avenues right before my eyes was just, I think the first day I was just like, something's going on here. And then, after I had investigated further, learning about the neighborhood and kind of inequality on a national level, I really understood, or to the best of my ability, understood what was going on in our little kind of sliver of the city.
I'm getting your whole vibe is that you're not the average teenager anyway. Even at 15, we saw you at 15 first in the film.
I think so, yeah.
15 or 16?
Yeah.
The way you carried yourself, the subject matter, you and a few other participants that we saw were way above the norm, not just in intelligence, but in your perception of what life is about. And did that help you in getting adjusted to being across from a housing project and going to school with a rich, privileged situation?
Yeah, I think I grew up and my whole family was like in my whole community, at my lower school, my middle school, we were all, constant talk about humility and stuff. And I think that's been a big part of kind of going. The one thing about Avenues is you can, just looking at it, you can see that it's a nice school and you go inside. And there's this one kid in the film who I interviewed, he said, I thought they would have a chocolate fountain inside. It's very kind of ostentatious in that way. So I think to me, I guess, it was hard to see the wealth so kind of manifested so much and then be across from a housing project, but at the same time it's kind of an inevitable part of gentrification. So I think it's hard to grapple with having to almost every day be aware, be reminded of your privilege, but I'm actually really grateful for that in the sense that every day I'm reminded of what I have and I'm reminded of my responsibility to give back. So
that's what I got. That is what I meant. That you,
Special.
well, yeah, in the way that you and a few other ones that were portrayed, you understood that I'm different. I didn't do anything to get this. So now what do I do with it? What does that feel like to look at kids from a distance at first, that you're about the same age and know that there's this huge gap between your lifestyle and you did nothing?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels unfair. It feels very unfair that I've been given so much for no reason other than I was born in a certain family and have been given such privilege. But I think it can be really overwhelming for some kids, and some kids will express on the way that they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about their wealth. They just want to kind of ignore it. But I think most kids at Avenues, at least, you kind of feel, again, a responsibility to give back, a kind of responsibility, not because of your wealth to give back, but because, actually because of your wealth to give back, yeah.
Would you consider yourself a budding activist?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Right now I intern at New York Civil Liberties Union, which is the local branch of the ACLU, and I do a lot of film and photography work there as well. So it's been an amazing and really gratifying experience.
Your film, 115 Steps.
That was my next question. How was it evolving like that? Because I know you were doing like the pictures and you sat with the young man and you brought him to the school. How is it evolving since you started?
Well, it really actually, that was kind of really one of the climaxes of it that they caught in the film when I brought Josh from Avenues and we went to his house with Isabella as well, who's a kid from Avenues. Before that, I really did one-on-one interviews with kind of students at Chelsea Elliott and students at Avenues to get both their perspectives on gentrification, but also to just get a little bit about their lives, kind of snippets, because I think one of the big things about inequality is you actually really don't hear other stories. You just read statistics, and statistics can really definitely tell a story, but it's not a narrative and it's not human the same way that I think interviews and radio and kind of just like listening about a person's life is really important, and I don't think we do that enough when we have two communities that are so unequal and so distant yet so close.
Now, how did it make you feel as far as when you brought them to Avenue and it's like literally right across the street and they've never stepped into that building, and just to see their amazingness of being in that building, how did it make you feel as far as you have that every day and this is something that they get a piece of it?
It made me actually kind of angry that I go to a school that is so kind of extravagant in its way. Not because I think Avenues has done anything wrong, but just because that this can happen. That we live in the 21st century and we can do so many things with so much technology, and we still have so much just overt inequality. So I think that made me angry.
I sensed that, and wanted to just thank you for choosing a different path. Could have said, hey, that's the way things are. Not on me. I didn't do it. It went on your way, but I definitely saw the shift in the way they did the film. It was beautiful in showing that, and that you are going to try to do something. And that's what it's about. It's just one person at a time. Just you do what you can do. It's not all on your shoulders. But I think that through your film work and through your life, I can see in your eyes you are going to do what you can do.
Thank you.
Thank you for sitting and talking with us. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
I think that something important is just that this is a microcosm for something that's happening nationally. Inequality and gentrification. These are issues that are happening everywhere, and I think it's important to see this film as just one story and kind of a very, much larger thing that's happening.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be waiting for this to come out. We'll be doing our part to make sure everybody sees Class Divide.
And looking forward to what's coming next with 115 Steps.
Yes, I want to know about that. Okay. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that. And watch out, she's a superstar. She's going to be signing autographs over in the corner. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.